Mm. Hello, Kiana. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Look like you're still busy in the
I'm looking for a spot to be able to sit. Everyone is in meetings right now.
Okay. Are you at you
So
work at a school?
I work at a nonprofit organization right now.
Okay.
So
Okay.
um, we're here in San Jose.
Okay. Good, good, good. Well, thank you for joining me today.
Of course. Thank you. I'm sorry that I wasn't able to accept to let you know that I'll
No, you're
be
fine.
joining.
You're fine. I was just giving a couple minutes. I know I had Ivy, who was on the first call, was coming. Was I think she's coming as well. But the show goes on, so I know everybody's busy. But I was going to have everything recorded regardless, so that we can get it kind of cleaned up and doctored up in a moment. So I'm glad. I like even if there's just one person, it makes me happy because it makes it easier to I think anybody that watches the post session will feel like the personalization, if you will, of the session. So good, good.
Yeah,
Thank you
perfect.
very much for joining me. Um,
Thank you.
the first session is getting edited, so I've got it up on it's on YouTube, but I'm trying to clean it up a bit. But if something comes up and you need to preview that sooner than it's edited, just let me know and I'll be sure to give you access to.
Okay, okay, perfect.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. This is session two. I'm gonna get us started here, and we'll see if Ivy joins us as well. But this session is really focused on understanding the different types of assessments that are available and what it looks like to distribute them and select them as well. The last session we prioritized understanding how to log into the platform, how to navigate the platform, and even debriefing some of those conversations. So I do want to check with you. I think we did log in early and we logged into your account, correct?
Hmm.
Do you still are you still able to log in? Do you need the link to access it or anything?
If I could have the link one more time, that would be great.
Sure, absolutely. And I believe if it doesn't work, you can just put forgot password
Okay.
and it should let you go from there. Boom.
Let's see.
And I'm pasting this right now. And I will wait. I want to make sure that you're able to get in before we move forward, just so you can see everything.
Okay. Mhm.
Oh, you might need your, let's see. Yeah, just your email address. It should be the same email address as the one that I put on the calendar invite.
Okay.
And if it doesn't work, I can reset your password manually.
Mm, Let me see here. I have so many passwords.
Well, and so this one, this is the password that I probably made for you. So this is not likely going to be one of the ones that you made. I think I just did like your first name, last name, or whatever your email was. It might just be
Okay.
Kiana Munoz.
Okay. Let me see here. Let me go ahead because I'm on my iPad here for this. Let me go ahead and grab my laptop really
Okay.
quickly so that
Yeah.
way it's just easier for me to get connected.
Yep.
That's why you can't play on the stairs. What happened?
I was running not to turn around something, but I saw, but I had this guy.
Yeah. Here, come on. Let me help you down. Let's go get you some ice for your knee, okay? Come on.
It hurts.
It hurts?
Yeah.
Can you walk on it or no? No? Here, come here. Let me see.
I can't even walk on it.
Here. Stand up a little bit so that way I can help you, okay?
This foot can walk.
That foot can walk, but not this one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna carry you, okay?
Okay.
Let's go.
My bitter. He used to be a player.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bobblehead. I love bobbleheads.
Okay, let me make sure you're not playing on the stairs like that, okay? So I'm gonna have you sit down right here.
No.
No, he was on the stairs. He just fell off. He just fell down from the stairs. Okay, so I'm gonna have you sit like this. This is the one that hurts. Okay, so I'm gonna put it right here and just sit here for a little bit, okay? It hurts right there. Okay, so just sit here for a little bit, okay? Thank you. I know I'm in a meeting right now. Okay, sorry about that. Had a child emergency in our agency.
I heard the one foot didn't work.
Yeah, one foot didn't work.
My son is he's 4. He talks the same way, you know.
I was like, why are you on the stairs in the first place?
Want to play in all the dangerous places.
Yeah, exactly.
I did put on your iPad, you'll see I put the username I have for you, the password, and it is your Kiana Munoz email. But I put SJAACSA for your username. Did I put the abbreviation right?
Yes. Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Right. So perfect. So let me go ahead and log in here. Thank you for taking the time to.
Of course, this is for you. If I don't take the time, there's no point in doing it.
Very true.
I would say, and I talked to folks earlier as well. So I know you were in that initial round when we were kind of going over and doing the debrief, and so this is the second iteration of that. So it's will be much more formalized, and you'll see how things are kind of showing up through this presentation. But this should give you a bit easier access to be able to navigate and access everything.
Perfect. Yeah. I really did like the assessments. I think just for me, like seeing the breakdown of my own like assessment, it was actually really helpful for me.
That's wonderful. Music to my ears.
Yeah, it was. I remember showing my director because he also went through Messy Roots coaching.
Okay.
And I was like, do you remember doing this assessment? I was like, I was just telling him even as like an agency internally that we should be doing this.
Yeah.
For like our team, just so that way, like when we're doing our one thing that like our staff has a problem with all the time is like we're asked to do quarterly like updates on our like our 5-year plan, just kind of like seeing where we are. And a lot of times everyone's just like, I don't know what to put down. But like I think that those breakdowns would be great because you see kind of like where you need to improve on internally.
Absolutely. It's a great hiring tool, leadership tool, coaching tool. So that's one of the things I want to highlight for you all as well. I mean, I'm working with a school district in Arkansas, and we did leadership training and one-on-ones with their leadership team, and they were able to use our one-on-one data for their performance reviews and things of that nature. So there's so much that we can get into, even when it comes to team reports. That'll be the third session. We look at team reports and team dynamics and all the fun ways to use it. And if time permits, I'll go back. Type of
There we go.
Okay. If time permits, I'll go back to the last presentation as well, because there's a lot of links in those that are going to be helpful for you. And I am going to find a home for them. Right now, they're just standalone links, but they'll come soon. Did that login work for you?
Yeah, I'm in now.
All right. Okay, cool. We'll tackle that in a moment then as well. So what we're going in today, we got you logged in. That's the most important piece, just making sure everything works. I'm going to go over, I actually simplified. If you remember last time, there was about 15 assessments to choose from.
Hmm.
I actually narrowed it down to 4, just from,
Okay.
I don't want folks having decision fatigue. And my business coaches always tell me, Trey, stop trying to be so smart. We want to be
Hmm.
smart and change the
Hmm.
world and use everything. Like, actually, this is bread and butter right here. Let's just use these 4 assessments because that's going to take us where we need to go. We'll walk through managing links and then sending assessments and users. And so I see on your account, you do still have one extra assessment, if you will, that you're able to utilize for practice. So you can use that assessment today to kind of make a link and walk through as we go through everything.
Okay. And that's the disc leadership, right?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
And so this
Perfect.
here is just a breakdown of the assessments that I used last year. I think there was about, is it 302 or 320? And so this is the breakdown of what assessments I used. And this is in large part why I narrowed that list down. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm 8 years into using this work, and this is still the one assessment that I go back to, the DISC self and DISC leadership, because this one assessment can support training for up to a year in my experience,
Mhm.
depending on how many sessions and things you have. Disc awareness is as similar to the disc self, but it adds in emotional intelligence components. And so that one's been, I did a lot of testing with that this year. You see 80 of them have been used. And so I really like I do like that one. I'd say those are the top 2. And then you've got disc and EQ, which these are very similar. This one is better just because it's prettier, it's more up to date, it's a little
Mhm.
cleaner. And then the leadership, disc leadership, just add some components about leadership. 360 assessments, I use 15 of these, typically
Mhm.
for small leadership teams of folks that want feedback from the
Okay.
reports. Any questions so far? I'm going to go over the top 3 in a moment.
So you said the disc 360 is more for like groups, like small groups. That one would be better for that.
Well, so I would, if I say that better, I would say for leadership teams. So, for example,
Okay.
there was a school with about 40 staff
Mhm.
members, and there were 6 leadership team members. So each of those, so this one leader has 5 people that report to them. So they'll complete the assessment, the leader will, and then the 5 people that report to them will also respond to them in the same way. And so they'll get feedback. The leader gets feedback from their peers. And so a big
Mm.
thing that I'll look at with like Gallup data is how most managers are not giving effective feedback to their subordinates, and they don't feel supported in that way. So the 360 assessment is I'm rambling a little bit, but if your team, if you do you have a team that supports you?
Yeah, so I have a team that I work directly with, and then those who kind of like work under me as well.
Gotcha. So the same way you took your DISC assessment, imagine if they answered the same questions about you. They
Okay.
would say, how does Kiana show up this way? Does Kiana more like this? Is she least like that? And then we would get to compare and say, how does
Okay.
Kiana show up? How does her team see Kiana? And if those
Mm.
are aligned, we know that you're showing up in the way that your team sees you. If you're not aligned there, if your team sees you differently, then we can ask and poke some questions about how you may need to show up differently as a leader, or how that shift is helping your team execute appropriately. So I'll remind me of that as well. And I'll pull up a 360 account for you to see.
Okay. That's actually really helpful. I like that.
Yep. And that's a good example of, again, I only have 4 on your profile, but if you ask for another assessment, I can give it to you. I just don't want folks to be trying to spend
Right.
days and weeks and months trying to figure out the right assessment to use.
Hmm.
So yes, that's good. Any other questions here?
No, that's it for that.
Okay. So thinking about the assessment selection, disc self is the one that you've already taken. And so the best way that I've used this, primarily in education and nonprofits, some universities, this report is used specifically on DISC behavior styles, which makes it an effective tool for entire school faculties, grade level teams, or professional learning communities. And you can swap this out for whatever industry that you want.
Mm-hmm.
You can say nonprofits with their teams, with their donors, or whatever the case is. And so the rationale is it's really helpful for teachers, counselors, and staff or team members to understand their natural versus adapted behavior tendencies at work, and also help staff to staff interactions, providing options for adaptability, school-wide professional development, co-teaching models, special education teams, interdisciplinary collaboration, and there's group reports as well. So it's very well encompassing. You have the primary report, but there's a bunch of sub-reports that we can create as well. So if it's a 40-person team, we can break that down into teams of 5 or 10 or whatever the case may be. The report is about 40 to 55 pages, depending on what you're looking for right now. I'm in the process of getting that slimmed up so that we can extract some of the extra pages so it's not so long, but you'll still have that information available on the back end in the resource hub. The other assessment, these are just some pages. So you probably remember some of these. You've got your behavior pattern that shows us, how you show up naturally versus how you show up in an adaptive format. And then also bringing down what you bring to the organization. So these are also good tools. You mentioned inside your organization. Imagine if everybody knew your top 2 strengths, your top 2 tendencies, and how you're most effective. They would have a better understanding of how to put you in win-win situations and how to ensure that you are the best version of yourself, on the workplace. The last component that I showed, this is the primary deliverable. So when I debrief this assessment, if I've got 2 hours, which is usually the minimum time for a debrief, this is what I want everybody to walk away with. And so these here, the 1, 2, 3 topics, there's a section for all of these. And so essentially we have folks go in and mark their top 2 do's, don'ts, wants, needs, and strengths. And this becomes your primary communication tool amongst your team. And it can either be an exchange where, hey, Kiana, you and I are meeting tomorrow. Let's look at the digital version of this so I can make sure we have a win-win. Or maybe we take 5 minutes before we meet in real time and just look over our communication summary so we can be on the same page.
And would you say this is also a good assessment that can be used for students too?
There's a different version for students. First, how old are the students?
So we have ranging from high school to college. So I would say ranging from 14 to 26.
Okay. Let me take a note.
Probably our college students would be in a different category because it's for a leadership academy. So our high school students, we're trying to really help them to find self and find out what it means to be a leader for them, right? It's setting more of a foundation. More of college students, it's how can we uplift you? How can we support you and get you where you want to go?
Got it. So in that case, absolutely. I thought you were thinking more grade school. There's a kid version of this and a teen version. But for college students, yes, this is good for college students as well. I've led a couple of emotional intelligence workshops for career departments at the university level. There were some fellowship cohorts at Harvard who were taking these assessments in order to move forward. And I have 2 leadership academies that I'm working with right now that are using these assessments to develop their capacity for the next role. There's also job profile benchmarks in this. That's a lot of words. But if you know what industry these folks are going in, we can actually put together a benchmark profile that will help them understand what characteristics and traits align with those roles.
That's beautiful, actually, because that is a lot of our college students that's what we're so what I'm doing right now, because we'll start our next cohort in May, but I want to incorporate the teachings of coaching, like the coaching program that Mario has set up. But I want to incorporate that for our students. Like that's the biggest thing is incorporating more self-assessments, more engagement with understanding specific working styles, because I know that that's kind of like the nature that everything is going into. Like they want to know a little bit more of the systemic way in which a person can fit
Mhm.
into their organization.
Lovely. And I think this is what's helpful specifically in, I think, this area that you're talking about. You get a physical report.
Mm-hmm.
So along with that physical report, there's a lot of data points to show the
Mm-hmm.
success of how it's being utilized and even reference points. In our first conversation, a comment like you value perseverance and rarely give up.
Mm-hmm.
I can simply ask a student to read these 5 or 6 bullet points. Which one of these do you think most resonates with you?
Right.
You value that? Okay, give me an example of when you showed up that way or when you displayed.
Right.
And now we're having interview types of conversation and you're putting stories together for your interview that are coming out naturally instead of you having to try to, again, be smart and think of these perfect stories. It's already kind of mapped out for you as to how this could work.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
No, I love that a lot actually, because that is so without having, a bullet point of each individual student, that is kind of like how the conversations have been
Hmm.
forming as of recent. And so what we do is like we do biweekly meetings with our students where they have to actually come in. We have a curriculum that's planned. And so to have this kind of incorporated into the
Yeah.
curriculum and for them to have a blueprint of like being able to say on a piece of paper, these are the things that make you up. Now, what resonates with you and being able to kind of work and develop them from there, like that's exactly
Yeah.
what I want.
Lovely, 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 lovely. And well, how many people are typically in your cohorts or students?
So this past cohort, we had 20 students. We are upping it to 40 this year. In previous years, we've had up to like 75 students,
Oh,
but we
wow.
realized that, we have a drop off, we have a good
Yeah.
consistency of probably about like 35 students
Okay.
for each cohort.
Okay. That's good. Those
Mhm.
are good numbers. Those are good numbers. And I typically, there's ways to do this from even if you, I don't know if you have whole group and one-on-one sessions, but I
Mhm.
will typically do a whole group debrief
Mhm.
with folks. And then after we do that whole group debrief, we can have our one-on-one conversations. So the Leadership Academy, again, is in Arkansas, one that I'm working with now. We did a 2-hour debrief together. And then for the rest of the spring, we're hosting a series of one-on-one conversations with them to clarify what their goal is. So these are folks that are specifically looking to get into leadership roles at the district they're at. And so,
Mhm.
okay, what role do you want? What's the biggest gap? How do you grow to get there? What's our one area of focus? And then we go tackle it.
Have you ever done like come down for the group sessions? Have you ever come down to do like an in-person workshop?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Hmm.
typically, and so you're seeing both ends or both hats that I wear. So
Hmm.
my primary service delivery is these assessments for small teams and organizations. And so
Hmm.
let's just say your team. It'd be a 5-step process. First would be an onboarding and kickoff call. Second step would be a welcome letter and assessment, just what you did with Mario.
Hmm.
Imagine that for your team getting it. You all will complete that. And then how we did like a 1 hour small debrief, I will come in person and typically do a full day debrief or however much time folks have. Like there's one client here, they only had 2 hours. So I'm actually going to do 2 sessions for them
Hmm.
just because we didn't have the time. And then after we do the on-site training, I'll either do, that's where we do either the one-on-one follow-ups or I'll do 2 advisory calls. So those 2 academies we have now, one opted for one-on-ones with their 9 academy members. The other has 2 advisory calls, one with like their ambassadors and one with the program head to map out what next year looks like.
Yeah, I would love to be able to incorporate kind of like the group session into our weekend retreat for our students.
Okay.
So even if we would be able to workshop something like doing the call in initially, obviously to get the okay from our executive team,
Mm-hmm.
and then planning from there to have you facilitate the group session because then I can take the information to do the one-on-ones.
Yeah.
But I think having you there for that group session, that would be great because we would be able to give you the time needed within that, especially now, because we do it in May. So if we plan it
Mhm.
out now, we can make sure that you have the full time span that you need. And we typically take the students to like a hotel, so we have them there for a full weekend. And then we have a day filled with workshops where we um, we have a space within the hotel, and we're able to have AV access, everything that
Okay.
would be needed for it as well.
Okay. Do you already have those dates down packed?
So it's the first 2 weekends of May. So the first that was pitched, we're just trying to see because we have another event that is taking place that same weekend. But what we
Okay.
have right now is it would be Friday, May 2nd through Sunday the 4th. And if not that date, then we have here the 9th through the 11th.
I know for me the 9th through 11th would be I would be able to make. The
Okay.
second to the 4th I would not be able to make.
Okay. So we are just checking with our students right now because we have a couple of them who have prior school engagements for those who have already been accepted. So,
Okay.
and
Um
I'll make a note for that.
okay. And there's we can continue this part as well because I think one
Okay.
way or the other we can figure out how to work something out there for you.
Yeah, even if it's we get them to do the assessment and then we do a later group session on breaking it
Yeah,
down. I think that would work as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Perfect. Any other questions on this assessment here? I love your questions.
No, that's it. I love this assessment. I
Okay.
remembered, there's jotted my memory on why I love this assessment.
Yes, and I'm going to show you some of the pieces that we were talking about on the back end, that job profile, and even some collaboration reports in a moment too. This disc awareness survey, you haven't seen this one. I can't remember if I put some sample reports in here or not. If I did, I'll make sure we do. But this one is best use integrates for both DISC and EI, making it ideal for school leadership teams, administrators, instructional coaches who need balance, leadership styles with emotional intelligence competencies. So this report goes much heavier. The report that we just looked at is all
Hmm.
DISC, it's all communication, it's all like real-time application strategies.
Okay.
In the DISC awareness, there's a section that's of DISC, but there's also reports. I can pull a 2-page summary report to get us this information. This information here is not in the actual awareness report, but I can download a separate report that makes this information present, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So you're gonna have all these same materials from DISC, but it's gonna show up very different. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a moment. And even this, I say DISC awareness is good for principals and leadership. I've used this with the leadership academies as well. And so the difference is what I've seen the benefit being is folks that want to develop more of a like performance improvement plan or a long-term plan where we can look at which quotient are we seeing the most impact from. So EQ has 4 quotients and we've got scores from optimal down to novice. You got an
Hmm.
overall score and then a score for each of the 4 categories. After we look at the initial score, you get the 4 subcategories. So the lowest one that we just saw was self-recognition. Under self-recognition is 4 additional categories that are subcategories. So from here, I can say, well, Trey, before you graduate, before you start your next job, I noticed that self-recognition is an area of focus for you. As we look further, when I look at your self-recognition, I know that self-awareness and cause and effect are the lowest 2 subcategories. And
Hmm.
there's, more definitions. Based on these 2 subcategories, which one do you think will have the greatest impact on your well-being, on your preparation for the workforce, these types of questions. And then we can develop a plan of action specifically around improving this subcategory, prioritizing these 2 quotients. So this is kind of much more granular as far as
Hmm.
the coaching plan goes.
Okay. I like this one. I think this one would be we're looking currently for new assessments for our team.
Hmm.
And we have a small team. We have a team of like, I think it's like 12 now. I think
Okay,
there's 12 of us.
okay. And if we whatever we talk about too, we can either do, and I know that you all might be having a conference, but if we can do it all in the same day, if we can train your staff and the students,
Mm-hmm.
great. Or work
Mm-hmm.
out how that needs to happen. I think that makes sense.
I feel like for this one, it would probably be during, so we do an annual retreat right after June,
Okay.
because we put on our annual Juneteenth out here. So we put on the festival for that. So July, we kind of shut down, and that's like kind of our reset, but that's also when we do our retreat. So I
Okay.
feel like that would be a perfect time for that.
Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. I like it. Um, exciting stuff.
Hmm.
I'm trying to stay focused so I don't get too distracted and go in another direction. But yes, that's exciting stuff there. This is what I meant by disc. So the disc is available, but it doesn't show like the natural versus adapted. It just gives you this style breakdown, and I have to pull a sub report to get the other details. So that's the only difference here, which, like you said, may be better for your overall team. And so
Yeah.
here's examples of what these like self-recognition bases on these different competencies, and then you get your definitions of those. And what's cool about this report is these questions. So at the end of each section, self-recognition, social recognition, there's personalized questions. So even if you and I have the same score at 77%, these questions right here are going to be specific to the way you responded.
Mm.
And so that's what makes it a little more personalized with a kind of development plan as far as that goes.
Okay. And then would you say that this assessment would also be good as far as like individual coaching, like outside of the organization, just for individuals, like let's say that you're doing leadership coaching, this would be a good assessment
Yeah,
to.
for
Mhm.
sure. That this is both of them, the disc and the disc awareness are both good. It just kind of depends on, I haven't found the best language for it yet, but disc is the most practical. So when people come
Mhm.
to me with an issue, try I'm dealing with this, so and so is
Mhm.
frustrating me, blah blah blah. I guess external, interpersonal would be the case.
Mhm.
Disc is never going to steer you wrong. For the emotional intelligence, it's more of the internal side. Well, I'm just not sure if I'm good
Mhm.
enough. I'm thinking about my capacity. Oh, how do I show up better in this way? It's really a developmental thing. So depending on the framework for your coaching, yes, the emotional intelligence can be very helpful. This is a very active report. And so
Mhm.
what I've done recently with a client, we had our first advisory session, and then so they created a 90-day action plan based on some of the results here, and they're going to move forward with that. And since this is still a combo report, I can still go back and get the disc data. So while you're working
Mhm.
on self-awareness, I can go pull from the other disc data that we have to reinforce that and give you some tools to practice self-awareness or emotional identification.
This one seems like in exactly, exactly what it says. This one does seem like it's for somebody who needs a little bit more of like the emotional piece, not
Yeah.
necessarily like the data. So it's a little bit, it's like more of a confidence builder. I think
Yes.
this with the wording and things that are in it.
Yep. I like those words. Agreed. I did a lot of, as you saw, I used 80 of them this year. A lot of that was kind of experimenting on the different types of ways that it could be used. So I use it in staff retreats, use it in leadership academies, use it in like PLC meetings. And so I do think it's this one is kind of dense too. And yeah, I think capacity and confidence is great words to use. And then the
Hmm.
disc is like communication and relationships.
Hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, personalized tips for self-improvement. Example, be aware that intensity and impatience can trigger drama. Don't expect everyone to brush it off.
Hmm.
Intrinsic understanding, best practices that we can do to show up better in the field. The third one that I shared here is DISC and emotional intelligence. And looking at the report here or at the profile, I actually did not include this one. I may just switch it to be emotional intelligence since the DISC and EI kind of covers that.
Mm-hmm.
DISC and emotional intelligence, as I have it listed here, is a full DISC report and a full emotional intelligence report. So that makes this one about 80 pages.
Okay.
So the this report gives you about 90%, 80% of the same information, but it's about 40 pages or less.
Okay.
And so that's why I will probably lean on the other one. But there is one that just has emotional intelligence only. And this is how that report looks. And so it's very similar to the DISC and EQ, or excuse me, the DISC awareness, but it's not as modernized. This report, it just isn't as pretty as the other one, and it's not like I mentioned, the other one has custom questions. Everything
Mm-hmm.
here is a bit more cookie cutter. So if you're
Okay.
using the EQ, it might be if I have everybody, I want to keep them on the same track. We're going to meet the same time. Everything is going to be the same. Then this would be a good one for you. Versus if we want it more personalized, we'll use the DISC awareness.
Okay.
Questions on this one?
No, this one I think in my mind when I think of this, I think of like large scale. Like for us, if we were to do this, it'd be like something that we had for our volunteers. Like if we ever wanted to incorporate that with our volunteers, like giving them a broad spectrum of, the how they work as leaders as well as like,
Hmm.
what can be done.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well said too. I like that there and seeing the practical application. Same thing. You see the similarities between the DISC awareness and the emotional intelligence side. Again, just a little bit less modern, not as fancy here. And these questions are going to be templated. These are going to be the same questions for everyone.
Mm, okay. Yeah,
One,
I think that well,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I would say I think that would be cool. If we were to ever expand, that would be a nice way to get like volunteers and partners involved with us and get them
Hmm.
to kind of, that's like, I guess, a first glance look at how one, we can give back to those who support us by providing them with that information, but also
Yeah.
two, to get kind of like a uniform understanding.
Of where they are.
Hmm.
Absolutely. And even the DISC assessment will be good for your volunteers as well. And you may get
Hmm.
an idea on who is good at certain tasks. So if you've got tasks that may be more administrative versus more people focused, a DISC assessment would be a good way to figure out how do I put these teams together. I've got this volunteer, I've got a team of six. Let me make sure I have somebody who's got a strong voice, somebody who's detail oriented, somebody who's going to make sure everybody's on the same page, and then somebody that's not a go afraid to talk to strangers. So you can kind of piece some teams together as well and give them strategies to communicate effectively if they are not within, I'm not sure where they might be volunteering in a building or kind of outside a building, but depending on what takes place, they could use these tools to ensure that they know how to work as a strong team
Okay.
both ways. Good. Any other questions on this component here on the three assessments that I just showed you?
No, I think I really do like the disc and then the disc awareness.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, those are you can't go wrong with those. I mean, those
Hmm.
are, even when I'm working with folks, I there's no after we there's not even a point in introducing anything else beyond disc awareness or the emotional intelligence until we address those three,
Hmm.
because those are very very much foundational if you ask me there. So the next section, let's talk about how to manage and send your assessment links. So if you're still logged in, let's see if you can follow along with me. But I'll also show
Okay.
you some of the resources here too. So on the home page, we're gonna select on managing assessments and then
Okay.
managing assessment links.
Okay. Managing assessment links. Okay.
And I'll
Oh,
switch over there in a second. So before I switch my page, this presentation is going to have links to everything that we're talking about. So notice, boom.
Welcome to the virtual tour of your Manage Assessment Links
I'm going to
page.
walk through it with you right
In this
now,
video,
but
you
there's
will learn
also
how to create
videos embedded in the presentation that will do this at a later time, and then you'll have, our version of this. So some of them are a little bit boring sounding,
Today I'm using Upwork to hire a WordPress developer.
and not sorry, maybe not as relatable, but they're all embedded in here so that you can access those as needed.
Okay. And then I am trying to get back in here. Would you be able, because I put it on my laptop here, would you be able to send over just the password again?
Yep. There you go.
Oh, there we go. That's why. There we go. Okay.
So I have your page pulled up here also. I'm not going to click anything. I'll let you do it. But
Okay.
we're up here in Manage Assessment Links.
Mm-hmm.
Selecting Manage. Oops. That didn't work. Let me get log back in here.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. I had to log back. I think it timed out on me, but I'm back in here now too.
Maybe it's because I'm using your account, so I won't
Okay.
do it this time. I'll just let you use it. So we're in the Manage Assessment Links. And does your page look like mine here?
Mine is empty. That's the only thing.
Okay. Other than that, it looks good though. So go ahead and press Add New Assessment Link.
Mm-hmm.
And then what name would you like to give this link? So this is what comes up when somebody else takes it. Let's see if I have an example. Can you see my screen or see this thing on my screen?
Mm-hmm.
So this says, oh, that's not the right one. But basically, if I say sample report, you can see. Okay, no, I don't have a good example right now. But if I said, I'm going here tomorrow. So Thomasville High School.
Mm-hmm.
This is just what it's going to say. So when everybody completes the report, it's going to say, look at your report for Thomasville High School.
Oh, understood. Okay.
So you're just naming the link. So name it what you want to. You can name it test. You can name it, SG. What's the abbreviation? SJAAC.
SJAACSA.
You can name it initial, winter 25 survey, whatever you want. But this is going to be your naming convention that we have here.
Okay.
And then when you say which assessment would you like to complete, here's where you're going to pick. Your list is probably going to be shorter than mine. And I think the one you have right now is the DISC leadership.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll select DISC leadership. And then you don't have to require payment. So if you press require payment, whoever you send it to, they're going to pay for the assessment themselves.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But the next button that says allow the user to view reports, I always allow them to review reports. This means once they're done, they'll be able to download the copy themselves.
Okay.
I typically always will check the second, third box as well, email a copy, because some people may finish and just close the link out right away. So I want to email it to them so they always have access, even if without having to contact me.
Okay.
If you want to create a group, you can. I don't use groups very often, but this is just another way to segment them. So you might make a 2025 fall cohort group, and then you might make a group for every cohort. Email copies of the PDF reports too. I typically will put myself in here. That way I know if I'm expecting 10 people to complete a report, I'll get a notification every time. So not that I'm going to look at all the reports, but just gives me an idea or a reminder, say, hey, you still got 3 people that need to test, or hey, we've got 7 out of 10 done so far.
Mm.
Where it says choose email to edit, you don't actually have to edit anything there. But if you want to, this is what it will look like if you want the link sent automatically to
Oh,
whoever.
I see. And you can customize okay.
Exactly. You can customize the language. So once you're done, report attached, there's just some language that you use, like the email after they get a response, the link to register, dashboard invite. I've never changed any of these. I don't even know what they say. I know people just click the link. Finally, you can select the expiration date. So if you want it to expire, I had a client the other day like, man, I'm gonna take this and give it to my wife. Well, hey, if you leave that link open, they sure as well can.
Yeah.
But if you close it on a certain date, then you'll be
Okay.
So there's
Oh, so is that something like they can like you can people can send the link to others as long as the link is active?
yeah.
Okay.
So there's but I think a couple caveats. One, like in the way that your account is set up, if you only have 10, they can't use more assessments than you have.
Understood. Okay.
So if you only have 10 assessments available, the 11th person would just be out of luck. They wouldn't be able to get it.
Mm,
But if you've got 50, or like my account is unlimited. So if I put mine on Reddit for some reason, people could just take as many assessments as they wanted. So there are workarounds around that though. I'll show you.
okay. That
This
actually be like a nice community thing to be able to do to have like a general free assessment that anybody could take, and if you were to give it out to organizations to say, even if it's just like a basic assessment focused on leadership or emotional awareness. I think that'd be kind of cool.
taking down notes.
That's what I do.
Down notes. Yeah, I like that.
Consulting 2028. Catch me there. Catch
There
me
you
then. I'll
go.
have some more. I'll have some more for you. For
Okay.
now, they're free.
Okay. Now is that what's 2028? What happens then?
Oh, that's just when I need to get it together. I
Oh,
need to have
gotcha.
my own plan. Need to
Okay.
have my own business.
Um, understood. Fair. And I've got more comments for you there too, because this is an account that can roll with you. And yeah, I'll leave that there for now. The Okay, so that's managing assessment links. So we just set up a link to manage users. I'm going to just walk through this a bit here. So once you have users in, and I don't know if yours is actually going to have any users right now until that report, that assessment that you have is available.
Hmm.
So once you have a report, you'll get to go to assessment users, and
Hmm.
then we'll see everybody that's complete their reports. If
Oh, I
somebody,
love that.
hmm,
Oh, I said I love this.
okay, good. If somebody hasn't complete their report, you'll see that with the X. And so I can either delete it or I can send them a reminder. So once I press that gear icon, I can log in as user, add edit assessments, view and download reports. So since she's not done, she can't do it. But this person here, if I want to view and download the report, I can download it or I can email it to them.
Hmm.
I can also log in as the user. So this is what the end screen looks like once they're done. For those 360 reports, let's see if I can find one of those. So the 360 reports, I'm kind of showing you two parts right now. It's the same DISC assessment. However, once we get to, you get comparisons. So here's how you see yourself. Here's how your team sees you. So you see yourself as a formalist, the team sees you as results driven. And then here we're seeing which one is it? I believe the solid bars are how you see yourself. The shaded bars are how your team sees you. So this difference, why do I see myself as much more analytical and rule oriented and much more on the peaceful side, but my staff sees me as much more even keel? So something's not aligned, and I have questions on what the difference is and how that may be. And then here's even further. Here are my responses. Here's how my staff, all the observers, responded to my report. And so this may take us further and say, oh, okay, well, these people serve in this capacity, so that's probably why they see me that way. These folks work in accounting, and that's probably why they see me that way. These folks are my direct subordinates, and so that's why they see me that way. But putting context behind why some of these pieces work, and then the login looks a little bit different when we're talking about the 360 assessments, because there's options to where we're able to add all the users that are giving feedback to them, and that can be sent directly via link, or we can email it straight to them.
Okay.
So if I wanted to put Kiana Munoz in here in your email, I can send an invitation to you and you'd be able to give me feedback.
Okay.
It gets a little more complicated with this because you just got to manage who's giving feedback, is all the feedback done, blase. And I have some resources that can help put everything together. I just don't have them. It's kind of 2.0 level stuff rather than 1.0 where we are now. That's assessment links, assessment users. And let me do one more. I'm going to go to how to send assessment links. Let me see what a different one. Oops. Okay. So another way we can look at this is a demo account here. So right here, I have another option. So I just went in to create an assessment link. And this one does have a couple. So I can come in here and say, create a new link. And we'll call it Disc Leadership. Oh, why is it working? Oh, because I said create a new link. Okay, I'm not going to create a new link. I'm going to do an existing link. I'm going to do tray. And then I can, why isn't it letting me do this? It's acting funny. There we go. So now I have my test link and I can send it that way. So if I just want to
Okay.
one by one, you can send it one by one. But if I want to use it as a group, I can just take that link and drop it here. And as long as I have enough assessments, everybody that needs to complete it will just fill it out and have access to that.
Okay. Okay, so once you created the assessment link. Once you've created that assessment link, you can just copy the link that's already on there and send it out.
Yeah. So here's two examples of how I like to These are two real examples. So it's turned into a template now, but this is an
Mm-hmm.
example welcome letter that I send. So this was example for a first session, relationships and communication.
Mm-hmm.
This was my introduction. I typically would do an onboarding survey. And right here, let's see, I don't think I need these comments anymore. But right here is how I share it. So, hey, excited to work with you. Spring Leadership Academy cohort. Here's what we're going to cover in our time together. Here's how to prepare. Finish this onboarding survey and then complete your assessment link. So this one is no longer active because it had a whatever expiration date or whatever on it. But I typically will give folks in a welcome letter like this.
Okay.
And I think that also separates people from thinking that they can share it with other folks. If that makes sense, since I put it like
Yeah.
the template. And I'll typically just add an agenda to the bottom.
Okay. And now I hate to have to rush off, but I just realized that I have my team meeting right now at 3:30.
Yeah,
Is there a
go.
way? Okay, I do want to finish this though, because I would like to be able to talk more. Is there a way we can schedule even something like if it's at the end of this week or next week, I am free to schedule something as well.
Sure. I'll send you a calendar invite link or just a couple available dates, and we can
Okay.
wrap up this conversation and talk about what it would look like to come in and support your team as well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I would definitely like to, I want to continue this. I want to finish this off, and I'm glad that now I have a better understanding of the platform itself. But then I also do want to get those dates set up with you.
For sure. Sounds good. I'll get that to you tonight.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Have a good one. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks for
Okay,
joining me.
you as well. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. So let's continue here with the conversation. So sending assessment links, and then here's your workflow overall. So you've got the new client or coachee. We create an assessment link, send or share it. They complete the assessment. We review it internally and begin our coaching and training sessions. The second welcome letter that I shared is just a little bit more dense in terms of detail. I included some short videos about communication styles, which you have access to, as well as a 2-hour agenda here. Let's continue. Wrapping up here on this page, when we look at Disc Self and Leadership Debrief, so there's assessment, debriefing, model, and resources. I've got your debrief guide for certified and non-certified. There's also the DISC awareness debrief guide. And these are important information to help you feel comfortable as you're debriefing the information, part 1, 2, and 3. If you have this pulled up while you're debriefing or working with a client, you'll have a very simple and easy alignment with how to execute a debrief with your teams. The facilitation guides, 2-hour sessions, 4-hour sessions. Understanding the natural and adaptive graphs, that's also a presentation. And then you have facilitation guides also for the actual presentation. A lot of resources available here at your disposal in order to execute at the highest level. So if there's not a resource that I put together, there's a resource that's already embedded into the platform. Any questions? Our homework is to complete your virtual account tour, review any DISC trainer materials, and in the appendix, we've got some follow-up information for you here to continue your updated assessment trainer resources. Here's the access to that folder. You've got your admin guide. There's a full admin guide if you want to read that start to finish, or there's sections that are parsed out if you are somebody that likes to read about sending assessments step by step. that process is available for you here too. Facilitation guides that I mentioned are all right here. Debrief guides, these are more for one-on-one conversations. Trainer materials, these are support activities and strategies, things that you can implement in real time. And then I've got some items that'll be coming soon for you. So thank you very much for your time. This is session 2 of your strengths-based assessment portal training, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much. We've got one more session to wrap up our overall training here.